Hello, everyone. I hope I'm perfectly audible. So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for investing your time with us. I am Rabia Khan. I'm an organizational psychologist. I'm a teacher. I'm a public speaker and a soft skills trainer, and I'll be your moderator for the panel discussion today. This panel discussion is an introduction and a part of hybrid fast track growth incubation program with Accelerate Prosperity, which includes mentorship, financing, pre and post investment training. The deadline for this program application is 5th of November. So if you are a green startup, apply now. Today we have an amazing guest joining us, part of our efforts with Accelerate Prosperity, and where we will be talking about the journeys of our founders, their challenges, and some of the inspiration from them for a cleaner and greener Pakistan. Now, our goal today is that whatever your role is in the industry, that you will come away with something, maybe a new idea, a fresh perspective, a new strategy that you can apply to be more successful in an environmental sustainability. So I will give you an idea of the format. So initially, we'll take a few minutes for their background in the industry. Then I'll kick off the conversation, asking a few questions that will draw out some of the high-level themes and the ideas that we should be thinking about. And then the last few minutes of our time today, we'll open the floor to give you an opportunity to ask specific questions that you have been thinking. I'll start with Ayesha. Ayesha, are you here with us? I think Ayesha is not here with us. Let's start with Anusha. Anusha, please introduce yourself.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you so much for having me today at this session. I am Anusha. I am representing TrashIt. This is a social enterprise that helps promote sustainable living through an eco store and waste collection service here in Karachi.
Alright, so I'll just start off with Anusha. Anusha, in a world where we are driven by consumerism and we follow brands and we do not really care about what kind of a footprint we are leaving, how did you stumble upon this idea of trash it?
So around a few years back, when I was studying, uh, I would notice that we have a lot of waste around, and I would notice it every time I would commute from my house to my university, and it just was something that was bothering me way too much. There was waste, there was organic waste, and I wanted to see what I can do as an individual to help with this problem. So I started looking up, researching, what are the ways of combating it, and started to think around how do I create a system that can do that. So we figured that if waste can be segregated at source, there is a higher potential of recycling it, upcycling it, and creating different products from it, and creating different value chains. And at the same time, there is also a lot of change that can be brought by individual decisions we are making in our everyday life to be more sustainable. And so that was the entire vision behind TrashIt, to help promote a waste-free living, or and create opportunities to make sure that the waste that we are creating is properly composted, properly recycled in our economy.
Alright, Anusha, you are talking about individual responsibility. In your opinion, what does an individual responsibility look like, and how can we apply it to our everyday lives?
So if I've noticed, if we start investigating the waste that we are producing on our own individual level. So what I did sometime back, I did a investigation of my own waste, a small waste audit in my own house, where I kind of investigated what is the waste that I'm actually producing. I categorized it into organic, recyclable, and trash. And this activity in itself was such an eye-opening one. I realized that there is a huge component of organic waste that is being produced in my house, and it can be composted, and I can compost it in my own house. There is recyclable waste which I can store and send for recycling, and there is trash items that cannot be recycled, cannot be composted, but there are alternatives available to it. So I started, this is like this awareness was really helpful for me, and I would encourage other people to actually also dive into their trash and kind of investigate what is it that they're producing, so that they can understand what level or where they can actually start coming into play. um, every day we are making so many small choices. Some of these are so intuitive that we don't really think about them even. For example, when you're going to buy something, it's just intuitive for us that we'll get a plastic bag from the shop and we'll carry it with us. But as soon as we start reflecting on these choices, the solutions are pretty obvious and easy to adopt, right? You can carry your own tote bag with you. You can say no to a plastic straw. These are very, very simple things. You can carry a water bottle with you, instead of buying a water bottle every now and then, carry a reusable one. Small individual choices that have a really big impact when adopted.
All right. I think we have Ayesha with us. Ayesha, are you here with us now? All right. I don't think Ayesha is still with us. Okay, Anusha, can you guide us through the process of what actually goes on in your startup from the beginning to the end? How do you analyze the waste? You were telling about you analyze the waste and you create awareness to organizations. How much of the waste is recyclable? What goes on there?
All right. So, firstly, I'd like to break down what TrashIt is doing. So, one, we have a store. This is an online shop. You can log into it, check it out, www.trashit.pk. What we're trying to do with this is we're trying to make products that are plastic free, zero waste, accessible to everyone, so that there's one place you can browse through what are the brands that are promoting or working on the same goal of green products. And at the same time, what we're doing is that we're helping people recycle their waste, and at individual level, at household level, and corporate level. So with households, what we do, we have a weekly waste collection, where we guide each household about the waste that they can be storing, which we'll be collecting from them and channeling it to the right recycles. In the same way, for corporates, it's a bit more customized, but we're providing trackable ethical waste supply chain, where they can actually learn everything about their waste, starting from how much did they produce, what were the categorizations of it, and then where did it actually end up. So this traceability is sort of missing in the supply chain right now, and we're trying to provide that to the business partners that we have.
All right. Okay. You told me that you were a software engineer initially. So coming from a single industry and becoming a founder has to perform so many roles, from a marketer to the founder to the salesperson. What guided you the most during this entire process?
Yeah.
You're so right. Like, honestly, the startups are so tough because there's so much that you're managing. You're wearing so many different hats. Once you're a social media manager, then you're something else, and then something else. Especially in the very early founding years, um, it's tough, and yet at the same time, so much more fun, right? Because you're kind of looking over everything in your business, and eventually you start to delegate tasks, create a team, and give off things and focus on a few. For me, what was really helpful were two things. One, being out there in the ecosystem, and in entrepreneurial ecosystem, and the incubators, accelerators that are out there are very helpful in this particular area. So NIC was one of the accelerators that we joined, and we were in the first cohort of NIC Karachi. This was an extremely interesting opportunity for us, where we were able to interact with a lot of mentors, a lot of different startups, and get feedback on our entire idea from everything. Like, there were a lot of eye-opening conversations which we had, and that helped us change the direction of our startup, and pivots were also there. So being out there in these ecosystem clusters that are these incubators really helps. And at the same time, it was also all the competitions and opportunities that we were always a part of. We never missed out any event that was happening within the startup ecosystem. and never missed out a chance to get feedback from anyone who we can get it.
Right. We see that we have Ayesha back with us now. Ayesha, first of all, I hope there's no more issues.
I'm hoping that too. Rabia, I think we lost you.
Yeah. Okay. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about PakAgriMarket?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. PakAgriMarket is basically a marketplace for agriculture in Pakistan. So what we're doing is that we're bringing all the brick and mortar shops that deal in agriculture online. So we're digitalizing those shops, and that is consequently reducing the excess problem. That's addressing the excess problem that is faced by the smallhold farmers. Smallhold farmers generally, when they are going to sow a crop, the first thing that they are struggling with is the excess issue. They cannot find quality seeds, they cannot find quality fertilizers and information. So the first thing was to address the the gap that is between the farmer and the input vendors. So for that purpose, we have digitalized the brick and mortar shops, and the farmer who used to be the prey of vendor monopoly in their area are now able to look up shops, not only in their areas, but near their neighborhoods, and get select their products. And obviously now they have a better range of products to select from, and at a better price. And that's what we always say, that this consequently also reduces the cost of production. On the output side, we enable farmers to advertise their product. This puts the farmer in a better bargaining position. They have multiple buyers who can offer better prices. So this is the kind of marketplace we are trying to build that empowers the smallhold farmer.
All right. So, Aisha, when I was looking at your website, the first thought that came into my mind is, how does PakAgriMarket actually promote green economy or a cleaner Pakistan? Can you give us some insights onto that?
Sure. So PakAgriMarket, generally, if we say there are two things that we are doing, as Anusha said, that there's something at a very individual level, we can do very small efforts to, reduce, reuse, recycle. But all of that comes with awareness. And generally over here in urban areas, we have better awareness, access to information, knowledge and stuff. But what we lack in our rural areas is in the lack of information, the lack of awareness. It's not that they might not be able to practice it or they don't want to. In fact, they don't know. So this is the first thing that we're doing at PakAgriMarket, is that when you're talking about pesticides, or as we say it in Urdu, kimyai tadaruk, we always provide them a non-kimyai tadaruk or a non-chemical preventative measure that they can use for improving their crops. This is the first thing. And we also promote renewable energy solutions for agriculture. For example, we have a very huge list of solar panel vendors who are registered with us. This gives the ability to people in rain-fed areas. They can connect to the solar panel vendors and get better prices from them, compare prices and get there. So I actually can think of it as bridging the gap. We not only create awareness around why renewable energy is useful and how not only that it will help them financially, but it will help the whole environment. We also connect them to the vendors. So it's a you can say two-way thing, creating awareness and then connecting them to the vendors. Likewise, earlier, there are lots of, I've seen innovative startups that are working in agriculture, particularly if you're talking about, for example, there was a wormy compost. I'm sure Anusha would know that. So there are people who are innovating in that field, but naturally because marketing is not their field, it's difficult for them to market such innovative products, and we help them do that. Likewise, very recently we marketed pheromone traps, and this is another non-chemical way to find pests and kill them. So we not only create awareness, we also help them connect to vendors and procure those solutions that promote greener and Pakistan and organic solutions. This is one way. And the second thing is generally, as you know, that digital solutions, digital marketplaces have less carbon footprint. Now, for example, just assume that you would want to go and find prices of a packet of seed from different shops. That would actually require you to physically commute to that place. That means fuel consumption, that means carbon footprint. But on a digital marketplace, you can do it. You can just browse our website, connect to the vendors, and very recently we have integrated WhatsApp also. So it's so the inertia of spending some bucks on call is also reduced. That was something very wanted on our platform. So people can find prices just by staying at home. So this is one way I personally think that we are contributing towards less what I'd say polluted environment. Lastly, this particular learning was further reiterated during the times of COVID, when people, there was a smart shutdown, and the businesses were practically shut. At that time, we had a lot of traction on our website, because vendors, they were not only registered, they used to build, they used to maintain their portfolio, their product portfolio on our platform. That would, and people would come and, just like you would browse, you would go around the aisles of a shop, they would browse the portfolio and, find products for themselves. So this was something that, energized us towards, although this was not something that we really aimed while we were creating PakAgriMarket, but this is a consequence that we really loved.
So actually, you had the opportunity to experience the agriculture of other countries. I want to know about how did this specific agriculture of Netherlands panned out and materialized into your specific startup?
I'm sorry, I could not hear you. Please, Rabia, could you repeat yourself?
Yeah, you had the opportunity to experience the agriculture of other countries. My question is, how did the specific agriculture of Netherlands materialize into your startup?
Definitely. Basically, my husband got his PhD from Belgium, and that Belgium, there was a Dutch area that was very close to Netherlands. There, we spent quite some time over there. And that was one of the inspirations that Netherlands, particularly if you talk about Netherlands is a very, very small country as compared to Pakistan, smaller than Punjab. And yet, because of their modern farming practices, they're able to produce their production, crop production, and the efficiency is much higher than what we are experiencing over here. So definitely that has been an inspiration for us while we were creating PakAgriMarket, because again, coming to what is being done in Pakistan, I think there are a lot of innovative solutions, but what's missing is the connection. And that's what we wanted to build, the connection between the farmers and the input market, the farmers and the bulk buyers, the people who want to buy the produce. And not only those, but academia also. So, the research papers that we are generating almost annually, we cannot convey that effectively to our farmers. So this is one of the things that we are working on, for providing effective information to the farmers also.
All right, my next question is from Ayesha. Ayesha, as a startup founder, you must have faced many challenges in the beginning. And definitely the challenges do not stop, they come and go. So how did you face the challenges in the initial phases, and how did you equip yourself to face the challenges that come at you every day?
So I think I knew when I was jumping into entrepreneurship that this is not going to be an easy road, and there will be a lot of challenges that will be coming on and off. In the early days, I think the most important thing for me was the team that I had. That I was fortunate and lucky to have a team who was as passionate as I am about the idea, about pushing sustainability throughout the country. And that was like a cushion, whenever there was a hard time, we were there together. And at the same time, being out there within this ecosystem, we were able to interact with multiple mentors, and some mentors who became personal mentors and coaches for me and helped me get through difficult times. And then of course there's a lot of family support that comes in, and it's as simple as, if there's a will, there is a way, and you just have to find it. So that's how we kept going. So up challenges are there, they're obviously of a different nature, but it's always fun to solve challenges, and that's why it's sort of, we take it optimistically. Whenever there's a challenge, we try to look for whatever possible solutions we can come up with for it.
Right. Aisha, when you were getting your first customer, what kind of a reaction did you receive, the feedback you got, and how did you get more than one customer?
Okay, so when you're talking about customers and a marketplace, that's our customers have never been the farmers, because it's something that we created out of empathy, something that so we never would want to charge the farmer, and yet we don't charge the farmers. Our first customer is in fact a telco. We work with Telenor and they pay us for the service. So yes. But basically, what I understand from what you are saying is the traction. Probably the how did I feel when we got traction? So the idea was very well received initially. Basically, this platform was developed because my husband's family is a third generation farmer. So this was created I frankly speaking, I never thought that this would be something at national level or some, a startup or anything like that. In fact, I did not probably knew the word startup earlier too. So I thought it's just a hobby because I liked coding. I'm a computer engineer by profession. So I just liked coding. So I created this website for a family, a problem that I thought there exists and we need to solve that. So when we took out this product, when we launched this product and we, launched it at a scale, you'd say a city level scale, the idea was very well received because there was a need of it. And people appreciated it, and they were we were very overwhelmed by the idea that people would, and when I say people, this farmers, the people who have a lot of inertia for technology, they would use something that is useful, something that has been created, keeping their problem in mind and keeping and designed for them. So we did not really feel that inertia. Generally, you would say that farmers have inertia. They did not use technology, mobiles and stuff. But if they find value for something, they would use it. So having said that, the traction, the feeling of having people on the platform using it and being at least, energetic to figure out how does it work and how can we benefit from it, that was a really good feeling. And as I told you that we did not foresee this as a business, and it was where NIC came in, and NIC was the platform that gave us the vision that this project can actually be a very viable business. And over there, we were introduced to Telenor and other telcos who thought that they'll be buying our service and they'll be paying us. So this was the stakeholder map we did not plan. And Telenor came in and we became partners with them and they became our customers. And likewise, we have a few other companies that are taking our service, such as Daily Pakistan. It's a news paper, and the content we generate, they publish it and pay us for that.
So, Anusha, you opted for bootstrapping in the initial phases of your startup. Now, how did that benefit you in the long run?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Uh, when we were talking earlier, you told that you opted for bootstrapping in the initial phases of your startup. How did that benefit you in the long run?
So in the early years, we had to bootstrap because we didn't have access to a lot of capital. We also needed a prototype out there. We needed to test validate our assumptions, and so that was the only way possible for us to that we bootstrap our way and be able to do all the things. But bootstrapping in our case, it meant that we were trying to do a lot of things with the in-house within the team that we had. We were the ones who were packing the orders, were the ones who were collecting waste, manufacturing, and everything was done by us. So we are very well versed in the process entirely, how it works, what are the stakeholders. Interacting with customers was also something that we were doing directly, and it gave us a lot of insights, and helped us refine the idea overall. And into initial prototype attraction created anything, we were able to do that, which created a very good ground for us to win a lot of competitions and grants and get proper partnerships aligned.
Right. I see you mentioned that you are now partners with Telenor. Your name often pops up when discussing rewards and all. So, what is your secret sauce there?
I don't think there is any secret sauce except for the fact that we have been very sincere with the cause we are we create the platform for. So I think there is no secret sauce. There are just two things. The problem that you're solving, you need to be very, very sincere with that problem. You need to be passionate about that, and you need to be sincere and loyal to that. And then the second thing is hard work. Obviously, persistence and hard work. That's the only thing. I think that's not just in the startup; it's everywhere. You need to be, you need to have a vision for something that you need to achieve. For example, like Anusha said that she was bothered by the trash everywhere. You don't need to, really find somebody to blame for your problems, and you need to take charge. You need to see how you can be individual who can help this situation. So you need to be problem or not sorry you need to be solution oriented, not problem oriented. If you will be solution oriented, you will find hundred of ways to solve the problem. If you will be problem oriented, then you will probably find a number of reasons why the problem exists and number of people who to blame on. So this is that's all I'd say.
Anusha, I would actually like to ask you the same question. What is your secret sauce to a successful startup?
I think I completely agree with Aisha. This journey is so difficult that you can't get through it if you're not passionate enough about the cause you're working for. And just being able to innovate and come up with solutions to the very cause is empowering, and putting them to life is a beautiful experience in itself. So, um, with secret sauce, I think it's just that, understanding your customer, who you are making the product for, right? Understanding what their need is, that's the core. If you have unlocked that part, there is no hurdle really. आप कुछ बहुत ऐसा बना रहे हो जो उनको चाहिए, ये तो they will obviously get it, right? They will obviously invest in buying that. So that's really the thing.
I'd just like to add something to Anusha, what Anusha said. Very interestingly, when we went out to user research and all, and when we told that we'll be coming up with a platform that would help you find vendors across Pakistan, people would say that we don't need it. We're happy with what we have. And, so that was kind of a little bit discouraging also, but somewhere in our heart, we knew that there is a need. Sometimes there are instances when your customer is very naive and they might not know what they need. So sometimes, for example, in our case, the solution, the same people who earlier said that they did not want a solution, they are now ready to pay for that solution. So sometimes, yes, the users can be naive, but you need to understand their needs rather than, listening to what their needs are.
Right. So, Aisha, we initially talked about individual impact that one can create for a clean and green Pakistan. What is your take on it?
I think um, if you find passion about clean energy and clean environment, you know, I have a very different perspective about it. मुझे लगता है कि ये जो पूरी कायनात है, the whole world, from the soil to the trees, everything, ये अल्लाह ताला ने आपके लिए create किया है. सही है, तो this is something for you to take care of, just like अल्लाह ताला ने हमारी body create किया. I mean, you know, जैसे कहते हैं कि आपका जिस्म का आप पे हक है, the same way everything is created for us and we need to take care of it. So at our home, I have 2 kids, and we practice reduce, reuse, and recycle very much. And I think ये individually हम लोग जब तक इस चीज को अपने अंदर जो है और अपनी न्यू जनरेशन में इनकलकेट नहीं करेंगे, I think we will not go anywhere. ठीक है, you need to be sincere about you know, पहले तो सबसे पहले तो आपको खुद sincere ये होना है कि जो है this is some that I'll be answerable to God in front of I'll be answerable to Allah Ta'ala if I mess up things. Say safainess iman hai. Say it's not just personal hygiene. We just generally take it as personal hygiene. It's not just personal hygiene, it's the hygiene, it's the cleanliness everywhere. Well, that might lead me to some other tracks, but bahar agar hum jaate hain Pakistan se, to unfortunately सबसे गंदे और polluted इलाके मुसलमानों के होते हैं, which is something very bad. I'd say. What kind of an impression are we leaving? So ये छोटी सी चीजें हैं जो कि हम लोगों को अपने अंदर लेके आनी है individually और अपनी नई generation में लानी है. तो अगर हम लोग the one thing that I try to religiously practice at my home is separating the waste. That's it. सिर्फ अगर मुझे लगता है हम सब यही कर लें तो भी बहुत है. And frankly, it might sound very easy. It's not. At our home, we practice that the organic waste is separated. We practice that the paper waste and the plastic waste is separated. So it's ताकि वो recycle है, okay? And that's it. This is something that we've learned while we lived outside. यहाँ आप समझें कि अगर आप ये करेंगे, not only that you are helping the environment, you are probably helping so many people earn their living. So you know, take every very small steps. आप उसको बड़े उसमें देखें, पैराए में, and you will see that it's a, you know, such small steps can actually create a lot of impact. So this is personally that what we do at our home, and we try to bear, अगर हमारे करीब जगह कहीं जाना है तो we try कि हम गाड़ी ना लें और हम पैदल जाएं. That's something we just do at our home, and that's what I teach my kids. That's about it.
So we talked about individual impact on the green and clean Pakistan. I would like to get both of your take on the impact that we can create as a community or at city level. Starting with Anusha, please.
So firstly, I'm so happy to hear that Ayesha practices segregation at source in her house, and is educating her children about it. That's so good. Keep it up. And one household can do that, right? So that means all the households can also do that. So that's how the community comes into, right? Agar hum sab understand karne ki what happens if we start segregating in our own houses, there's a huge change that we can bring into the economy. From being able to segregate organic and recyclables, it increases the potential of the recyclable items. The potential of recycling is higher. Otherwise, क्या होता है, हम mixed waste जब dump करते हैं, what happens is जो recyclable waste होता है, it gets contaminated. उसका potential of recycling is reduced. There is a possibility कि वो even if it goes up to the recycler, it gets discarded because वो उस condition में नहीं होगा. Second है, once we start to segregate at our source, हम जिस भी अगर हम normal system को भी carry forward करते हैं, where there is someone who comes to the house and collects waste normally, you're giving them much more respect and dignity, right? आप उनको एक चीज sort करके दे रहे हो जो बाद में आपके कचरे में से निकालें. So there is that aspect. Honestly, I really feel like if we can start segregating at source, waste की बहुत सारी value chains create की जा सकती हैं. And if this can be practiced in one household, it can be practiced in an entire community. It can be practiced at a city level. It can be practiced at a country level.
Aisha, the same question for you.
I think Anusha explained it very well. Segregation, ये सबसे basic चीज़ है. I think Anusha explained it very well कि अगर आप जो है, for example, paper waste को organic waste के साथ mix कर देंगे, तो उसका potential जो है recycle करने का वो reduce हो जाएगा. अब as Anusha said कि वो कोई आएगा, बच्चा collect करेगा वो कचरा, and then मतलब it's very painful to see young kids, finding bottles in the dump of heap. तो अब ये चीज हम लोग as a responsible citizen, as educated people, I think it's very important कि हम लोग इस चीज को practice करें, and it takes a lot of time and effort. As I told you earlier कि हम लोगों के घर में ये जो मसालों के डब्बे होते हैं या मेडिसिन में भी आप देखेंगे कि जो फ्लायर्स होते हैं उनका लिटरेचर होता है, एवरीथिंग गोज इनटू रद्दी. सो ये अगर आप इसको रिलीजियस एस्पेक्ट के साथ अगर करें तो that adds a little bit of more motivation to it. And I think that's once you get used to it, आपको देख के भी उलझन होने लगती है कि if the organic waste is put together with the paper, that you get irritated by that. So this is one thing. इसके अलावा छोटे छोटे से आप मदीर segregation करनी एक चीज, ये जिस तरह मैंने आपको कहा कि अगर आपका छोटा डिस्टेंस है, try to avoid using a vehicle, take your kids for a walk. मतलब these are मतलब आप एक चीज को जैसे कहते हैं स्टार्टअप में मल्टीपल रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम्स आप निकालें, तो वही चीज है ये कि आप जो है आपका एम होगा कि आप फ्यूल रिड्यूस करेंगे, कार्बन फुटप्रिंट भी रिड्यूस होगा, बच्चों के साथ भी टाइम स्पेंड होगा. इट्स होल यू कैन कन्वर्ट इट इनटू अ वेरी हेल्दी एक्टिविटी. सो ये रिसाइकलिंग में भी आप बच्चों को लगाएं या मतलब ऑल द फैमिली मेंबर्स विल फील अ सेंस ऑफ अकम्प्लिशमेंट.
Ayesha, what was your biggest success of this startup?
Acha, okay. Well, that was not something, I did not say some kind of an award or some kind of grant. हम लोग चकवाल गए एक दफा, तो वहाँ पे एक बहुत बूढ़े से शख्स थे, तो उनको बताया कि जी हम पाकएग्री वाले हैं, तो उन्होंने कहा वो सोलर पैनल वाले हैं, तो because he did not exactly know what we do पाकएग्री, हमने कहा हुए. So what we learned was that person was struggling to get solar panels on his field. चकवाल जो है हमारा सारा बरानी इलाका rain fed, so there is a dire need of renewable energy over there. So he was struggling for that, and through our platform he was able to procure that, and I was kind of really surprised कि how is that possible? He might not even know how to read. तो मैंने उससे पूछा कि आप किस तरह आपने ये हमारा मतलब प्लेटफॉर्म का आपका पता लगा, कैसे इस्तेमाल किया? He was like मेरा जो भतीजा है उसने जो है ना मुझे ढूंढ के दिया आपके प्लेटफॉर्म से. So it was something very satisfying. I'd say something बहुत मुझे खुशी हुई, क्योंकि obviously again it has a lot of outcomes to it. Not only renewable energy वाली एक element है, फिर production increase होना एक element है, and giving back to society, the feeling that you get from that is something else, very fulfilling.
You mentioned earlier today about the billion tree tsunami and your role in it, your startup's role in it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Rabia, the question, I'm sorry?
Earlier today, when we were talking about Green Pakistan, you mentioned billion tree tsunami and your startup's role in it. So can you tell us about that?
Sure. बिलियन ट्री सुनामी बेसिकली आपको पता ही होगा, पाकिस्तान में जो है शजरकारी की जो मुहिम चल रही है, and 10 billion tree project, the Prime Minister has started that. तो अब ये बेसिकली द आइडिया है कि जो है ये फ्लोरा स्पेसिफिक प्लांटेशन की जाए, ताकि जो है वहाँ के लोकल बी कीपर्स को ट्रेन किया जाए so that they can harvest honey. And that is मतलब वही बात है कि एक चीज से आप multiple streams निकालेंगे to benefit the local community. So the sub project is billion tree honey, जो कि उन्होंने उस plantation से procure किया. So we are helping Ministry of Climate Change to distribute that digitally through our platform. So this is what we are doing. This is also one of our part of Clean Pakistan.
Wonderful. Anusha, what was your biggest success?
So I think every day there is a success, and I wouldn't like say that there is one big success. It's they keep coming, and हर दिन होती हैं कोई ना कोई successes, and I think that's how I end my day thinking, oh, this is what was the highlight of today. For me, the biggest success in my startup journey was when I won She Loves Tech Pakistan in 2017. उस वक्त बहुत ही एक सिर्फ बिल्कुल एक आइडिया था. We didn't have it functioning, we didn't have the model in place, we didn't have customers at that point, but that very idea winning at a Pakistan level and then going to Beijing for that competition was really amazing, and I think that was the motivation that I needed to keep going this long, you know. So वो बहुत एक amazing experience that I was representing my startup. I was representing Pakistan at the same time in a global ecosystem, and वो मेरे लिए एक highlight अभी भी रहता है. And every time when I go back to that day, remember, you know, how everything worked out and how far I've come.
Anusha, you have been with NIC since the first cohort, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how has that journey been for you?
Uh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. So yes, I was in the first cohort of NIC Karachi, and it was a very good experience in three ways. One, they provided very rigorous training on basics that entrepreneurs need. मेरा background computer science में था, so बहुत सारी चीजें मुझे सीखने को मिली. How do I do finances for my company? You know, what kind of marketing strategies do I need to look into? So I was able to get those basics aligned for myself. फिर दूसरा ecosystem support. जो startups मेरे साथ थी उनके साथ you know like being around people जो आप ही की तरह के हो, आप ही की तरह की struggles कर रहे हैं, you are able to relate better, and एक आपका ना group सा बन जाता है which is there to support you, help you through, and you do the same for them, right? So that was another aspect. And then finally, you know, bringing opportunities or making the opportunities accessible to you. That's another place where NIC really helped. Not only just connecting with mentors, but also connecting with industry leaders, creating opportunities where the startup community comes together, being a facilitator in a lot of competitions, and even with discussions with VCs. So this is the place where these are areas where you need kind of that push and that support, and NIC has been a mobilizer in that area.
Right. Aisha, as if a startup founder that who does not know how to grow and expand his business, where and how should he approach that mentoring and coaching?
Rabia, I'm sorry, could you repeat? I have slightly sluggish some kind of internet.
All right. I want to ask if, as a new startup founder or co-founder, I'm looking to expand and grow my business. So how do I approach the incubation centers, or where do I go?
Acha, I think the network of national incubation centers around the country is pretty dense now. I've learned that they're starting a new incubation center in Faisalabad also. There's one in Quetta, Peshawar, and all the big cities. इसके अलावा universities ने अपने incubation centers भी बनाए हुए हैं, where they pick up the idea and polish it. As Anusha said earlier, where there is a will, there. I would say कि अगर आप, again, the same thing that I iterate, अगर आप solution oriented हैं तो अल्लाह ताला किसी ना किसी तरह आपको आपके मकसद तक ले जाएंगे. So the first thing is, yes, to be connected to your community. अगर आप entrepreneurship में हैं तो आपको अपने community से link होना अच्छा है. Networking is something very key, I'd say. Keep an eye on the openings, national incubation centers की या बाकी जो accelerators, information incubators. You know, I think networking would help you a lot in that sense.
All right. Anusha, can you give us a few action points that we can apply in everyday life? Anusha, you're mute. We are not audible to us.
Okay, so there are some very simple small changes, and you'll be surprised that as a basic community, we have been fine-tuned to follow these recipes. So starting off with, carry on water bottle with you. Super simple thing to do, but a great impact. Say no to straws, plastic straws. Start sipping your drinks directly. या फिर आप stainless steel straws use करें, but say no to a plastic straw. It cannot be recycled. Carry your own bag with you, reusable bag instead of buying a plastic bag. If you should have a tote bag or a cloth bag that you can carry with you for any emergency purchasing that you have to do, you'd always be prepared. Super simple things. And again, walking around to a place or carpooling with someone instead of taking your own vehicle, that these are small steps that you can do to reduce your overall footprint. And at the same time, if you can start segregating at source, segregating in your own houses, creating that culture, composting at home, super simple, super amazing experience, seeing waste turn into soil, and it's super easy to do in your own houses. So these are small things that you can adopt. Then being a conscious consumer, when you're buying something, really ask yourself that do you really need it. Try to see if there is an alternate that is zero waste or plastic free or with a green sort of mindset, or investing in green projects, and buy from those brands instead of just buying as a normal consumer. Be more conscious about your purchase and the power that you have as a consumer. Call out brands if there are brands and corporates that are harming the environment. We need to call them out. We need to put that pressure on them that they start focusing on initiatives that can be better for the environment. So these are small, very small things. Each one of us can be an advocate for better environment.
Acha, I'd like to add something over here also. कि जब हम अगर आप पूरी हिस्ट्री देखें ना मैनकाइंड की, you will see that जब हम लोग आसानी पसंद हो गए तब भी जो है डिस्ट्रक्शन जो है ना, that this destruction has come in then. For example, अब हम बकरीद पे गोश्त देने जाते थे तो प्लेट्स वगैरह पे में देते थे, plastic boxes where we distribute stuff. So अब देखो हम आसानी पसंद हो गए हैं, and that's the reason why we are using the one-time plastic use. And this one-time plastic use is something so dangerous for the whole चाहे वो plates वगैरह हैं, try minimizing that as much as possible. Again, because naturally we might not want to थोड़ा सा अपने आप को सेल्फ मोटिवेट करें इस बारे में कि जो है that our little contribution would actually help the generations to come. We have to leave this world for the generations to come. मतलब हमारी औलादें औलादें और औलादें यहाँ ही रहेंगी. So we need to leave a clean world for them. So अगर आप थोड़ा सा अपने लिए भी अब थोड़ा सा अपने ऊपर जबर करें और अपने लिए आसान solutions को खत्म करें. So I think this is something that will help us as individual and as community. And also teach your kids, like for example, अब यहाँ plastic वो masks वगैरह का आजकल आपने देखा होगा कि everywhere you will find masks. I don't understand that. Why don't we shift to reusable masks? तो मतलब थोड़ा सा आपको awareness भी create करनी पड़ेगी इस चीज के around, ठीक है? और again छोटी सी चीज है, for example अगर हम लोग hand wash की bottle ले रहे हैं तो आप hand wash की bottle ना फेंकें, साथ उसका refill ले लिया करें. से अब हर चीज के पाउच के refills आ रहे हैं. For example, if you're using a softener, these are very small things, but बस मुझे ये होता है कि I impart that maybe and if even I'd say if one person adopts that after this webinar, that'll be a success for me. For example, softener की bottle है, don't throw that bottle away. Not only वो आपकी cost reduce करेगी, bring a pouch and refill that bottle. So इसी तरह अगर आप डिश वॉश यूज कर रहे हैं उसका भी आप बॉटल ना फेंकें, यूज अ रीफिल फॉर दैट. सो ये छोटी छोटी सी चीजें हैं जो कि आप डेली बेसिस पे प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं और जो है आप यू कैन कंट्रीब्यूट टू अ बेटर प्लेस फॉर द जनरेशंस टू कम.
All right, Anusha, would you like to give a short message to the audience now?
So if you have an idea that you're passionate about and want to work on, so reach out to NIC, be part of this competition, that this program that they've recently launched, and get out there in the ecosystem, get feedback, get people to talk to people more about your idea, and just don't stay just don't give your idea to yourself, tell about it to others so that you can get the right support. And at the same time, of course, please start reflecting on the waste that you're producing. Choose better for yourself and the environment and the planet and the entire community overall.
Ayesha, you're a mother, you're a family woman, and you are a startup founder. I'm amazed to what women can do. So what is your message to our audience today?
Well, एक message that I'd say to everyone over here is that as Anusha said and as you are saying कि ये hackathon है, इसमें apply करें और अपना idea जो है make it into a viable business, something that not only can and इसके अलावा for youngsters I'd say come into entrepreneurship, start thinking about creating jobs and finding jobs. Not only that will benefit you but also the whole community. So थोड़ी सी अपनी सोच जो है आप individual के बजाय जो है community की तरफ लेके आएं, जरा बड़ा vision रखें, and finally I'd say be more solution oriented. That's about it.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Anusha. Thank you, Ayesha. I would again, we have talked about creating impact at individual level, at regional level, and at city level. And Ayesha has proven that that is also possible at national level if we just put an effort into it. So thank you so much, ladies. It was a wonderful session. And if you are agreeing to our fast track program, it is a hybrid fast track incubation program, accelerate prosperity, and our deadline for that is 5th of November. So please apply now. If you want more details on that, you can watch the open house on Accelerate Prosperity on NIC page. And I believe that is all. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It was a wonderful session, and I hope that people take some inspiration from it and we can apply and act and put efforts towards a green and clean Pakistan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rabia. Thank you, NIC, for having us.
Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.